Deutsche Telekom global carrier. I'd now like to introduce you to Rolf Nafziger. And Rolf is the Senior Vice President of Deutsche Telekom global carrier. Rolf, pleasure having you here. Hi.
Yeah, big pleasure to join you here, James. Thank you for the invite. I'm very happy to join this forum today.
No, fantastic and good seeing you. So I can see you've been with DT for a very long time, for 22 years. So you certainly know this business from all angles. I've stalked you on LinkedIn and seen what you've been up to. So you're very, very experienced, and we look forward to having you and hearing from you now, delivering the keynote to our MEF CONNECTS Wholesale 2022. Take it away, Rolf. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Happy to do so. Yeah, hello, everybody. It's a big honor and pleasure, of course, to talk to you here today. As mentioned before, I'm running the DT global carrier business, which is the international wholesale arm of Deutsche Telekom. And maybe if we kick off the presentation, I'm going to talk about digitalization and innovation in the global business, which is probably the most exciting task that we can have. And if we think about what is going on right now, it's amazing. And I will take you onto a journey starting with what is going on in all industries, slicing it down to what is going on at Deutsche Telekom, what is our strategy there, and then slicing it down to the global business that I'm running, and then focusing also on mobile and 5G and the big changes that we are facing there. If we look into the next chart, we see that there is a big change in all industries going on. We all know that, yeah, there was the big change in the hotel industry, in the taxi industry with Uber, Airbnb. Currently, there are huge changes going on, even in the solid banking industry with Revolut and Scalable Capital that find completely new ways how to serve their customers with specific needs in a high level of automation, even using robots for their trading systems. And if we look into our industry, of course, we are highly impacted by digitalization and transformation as well. Taking a look into the next chart, there's a short overview about cloud networking, how it is disrupting us as operators. Many people are not aware yet that the hyperscalers have created the largest transport network of the globe. So it's the hyperscalers who have taken over this role of transport networks very much from the carriers. They are the big players, meanwhile, there. And on top, they don't only have a global network, they of course have also globally data centers in every corner of the world. And connecting this leads to a network as a cloud service in the end. And with this come along a lot of advantages from a customer perspective. And this is that there is a global footprint. This is that there's a high level of automation. This is that everything is fully software driven. Everything is software DNA driven in the end. And there's a continuous expansion of that. So this means this is a huge challenge for us in the future. We have to face that and we have to embrace that. And we even might become better than the hyperscalers. If we take a look now into what this means for our industry, I'm talking to you and you will see this trends on the next pages. We see on the next chart how the trend radar is looking like since a couple of years. You see here words like blockchain, virtual reality, slicing of networks, 5G implementation, telco as a platform, artificial intelligence, quality of service, and many more expressions. And these are not buzzwords anymore. I'm now talking to you here from Cologne, and in parallel to my speech, the Digital X is going on here in Cologne, and we have huge cases in the city, everywhere, in restaurants, in small places, across three sectors, three districts of Cologne, in a big event with 70,000 visitors right now. And what you can experience here and what these visitors are experiencing is all this, what we see here on this chart as former trends on a trend radar, they are reality or they are becoming reality. If we go forward with the presentation and go to the next chart, the leading digital telco, this is the strategy of Deutsche Telekom. You know that a couple of days ago, T-Mobile US became the most highly valuable telco in the world. It has a higher market cap than any Chinese operator right now and any other American operator. But even though having this high value, we as Deutsche Telekom, we need to foster digitalization. And I would say self-critically, we're making good progress, but we are not there yet. Therefore, our board has already published a year ago the leading digital telco strategy, and this comprises in the end 3 layers. This is to grow, this is to build scale and telco as a platform, and this is to simplify and digitalize. And in all these layers, we see that we want to lead in digital life and work with best convergent networks and the perfect service, with software-defined secure and global networks and IoT digitalization. And you see it in the middle layer also with cloud-based customer and network service platforms and best-in-class integrated networks and infrastructure. And this is a big step going ahead, looking in what we see all over the industry and also with regard to the hyperscaler network exposure and network drive that I've mentioned before. Coming now from the DT strategy and looking a little bit deeper into our global business that you see on the next page. What does it mean for us as Deutsche Telekom global carrier as such? And in the next page, this is a one-pager for myself. This is how I'm driving our business here at HED. And on the left-hand side, you see our developments and the recent market challenges. And this is quite obvious. Everything is becoming a service in the end. Everything is delivered as a service. We see an API-based architecture becoming much more important than it is today. We see that the network of network logic that we already have in wholesale and international wholesale also plays a role in the domestic areas, and that network cloudification and 5G are the key topics of the future. In the middle of the chart, you see that we are driving our business from being a traditional carrier in a traditional carrier model to becoming a digital global provider in the end. And this is a big step, stepping away from pure carrier to carrier business into a carrier to X model. Today, we are already serving the hyperscalers, we're even serving airlines. So there's already a dilution of traditional carrier and B2B services in the place. But all this goes along also with a completely different customer experience. The way how we are dealing with products like voice termination, SMS, and internet, going into a cloud communication, A2P messaging, and premium internet, going from the hyperscaler service provider on an eye level with hyperscalers, and so on. And all what you see here for us as Deutsche Telekom Global Carrier, this is not lip service. We have projects behind that, ranging from e-bonding, edge cloud, down to SD-WAN enabling. And I will pick some of these services in my presentation here. And this is cloud communication, CPaaS, that we see as a big and important field of digitalization already today, but even more for our carrier business in the future. It's about network as a service and what we call also hyperscaler network exposure, HNCE, in our business as well. And of course, it's 5G with all the capabilities and new services that we see here in the very, very near future. So moving ahead, let's take a look into the 5G SA roaming enablement. A couple of years ago, you know, when on roaming Roam Like Home was launched in the EU, I was often asked, do you still need your roaming department? No, roaming is for free. But the opposite is the case. Our roaming department within Global Carrier is becoming more and more important because the complexity of roaming is getting higher and higher, and the challenges are becoming bigger. And looking to the evolution of the business coming from 2G to 3G to 4G and now to 5G, we see also that the way we are providing quality of service has changed. Already in 3G, we had a lot of differentiation in the area of quality of service. With 4G, quality of experience kicked in. So we saw many services that I even mentioned before, like Uber and Airbnb, that were very, very customer-centric. They delivered a real emotional experience for our customers, where they changed business models significantly. With 5G now, it's a step back from purely human-centric services into also more non-human services. We know that right now, the A2P, the application to person business models are booming. The traffic is booming. And other models are on top of that. This is mainly API business, where many carriers have not really embraced that yet. So Twilio and Vonage and others have entered that market. They have a very strong position there, created again very, very good services. So we have to look into this business as well. And in addition, of course, we see that there's a much more interactive use case coming up with 5G, and also a change of models. And I will talk about valet parking at the end of this presentation, where today they are completely irrelevant in, for example, the German society. Going a step ahead and looking into the GSMA 5G triangle that you know. This is consisting of massive machine type communication as a fundamental pillar of the triangle, of ultra reliable and low latency communication, and on top of enhanced mobile broadband. So this is what GSMA is communicating. And on the next page, I give you an interpretation of Deutsche Telekom, how we see that. So for us, the quality of experience is key going along with 5G. So we have to provide quality of experience and quality of service in access network and in capacity. On top, security is extremely important and also a big part of 5G and an essential way how we are also providing roaming in the end. And then, of course, cloudification with new signaling in a web interface. And I mentioned the API business, which is playing here also a very important role. With this, and going to the next page, we see that with all these opportunities, also many challenges coming along. If you look into the flexibility of services that we are now able to provide, the operability that we are having, and the security needs that are key. And at the same time, a high level of individualization and contextual services to our customers, the overlap between different needs is becoming smaller. And therefore, we also have to improve how we are tackling this increasing complexity. But what is also an important learning here, when we talk about security and the individualization, we need to avoid that we go into a security trap, so that security is not on par with the flexibility that we are providing. So checking that, and again, looking a little bit on the next page into the development of our services. We have to really go through all these checkpoints. On the left-hand side, this is signaling, this is security, this is traffic, low latency, this is roaming value-added services, and 5G innovation, big bets. And looking into that, we see that there is a high level of support for the new protocol that we need on signaling. We need to secure all the technologies as well as 5G SA when it comes to security. And SEP is playing a major role here. Then we have the guarantee quality of experience have to guarantee quality of experience in transport and support cloudification, and we have to define how security changes roaming in the VAS ecosystem. And we have to see how network slicing roaming impacts also the transport area. So looking into all that, we have defined on the next page how we are addressing these innovations in our business. And we are starting with the 5G SA signaling and security, where we offer operator ways how to test the new operational aspects of 5G. And here we want to help the decisions. There's an own SAP or hosted SAP scenarios, and we also let operators scout pro and cons of each architectural decision. In addition, we look into the 5G SA ARVAs, and in this roaming value-added services, our mission is to adopt 5G thinking into the roaming value-added services ecosystem. And we have to discover options here and also solutions for roaming. Very important also the network slicing roaming that you see in the lower right box, the network slicing roaming and regional breakout. Here our mission is to evolve possibilities that lead to increased flexibility needs. Cloud Connect and cloudification, another area here, the mission is to keep quality of experience at the same time while migrating to the true cloud. So behind all these, we also have specific measures. We are collaborating with many other carriers. We are inviting other carriers to test the capabilities with us. It's a big challenge for all of us. So moving from this area now to another big topic that is very much on the top of our mind. And this is the network function exposure. I talked about a little bit of CPaaS that is already live. But network exposure for many carriers is still something where we need to go. And having a look into how the industry is developing, we see that developers are playing a very important role in this field. They are big influencers more and more because they're integrating via APIs certain network functionalities, certain network services directly via the APIs into web pages or APIs. So if we as telcos are not providing these services, they will come from other aggregators who are then participating to a high degree on the value chain, and then of course also benefit from a higher profit than we have with a poor termination of, for example, messages and SMS and signaling and so on. So coming from that perspective, developers are important. The customer expectations are highly evolving. So the demand for flexibility, for optimization between carriers is very important. Also here, APIs, optimization between networks play a very important role. The hyperscalers are also demanding for API-based services to integrate this directly into their ecosystems. And app developers are growing in their relevance, as mentioned before. So what are we doing? And this is here on the right-hand side, and you see it. We have established an API environment for network and communication APIs. We have established the Camara Alliance to do standardization and alignment with other carriers. And we are addressing specific developer needs like one-stop shop, try and buy, and quality and security. To look a little bit deeper into the demand from the developer side, we have also done a study, and on the next page we see that there is overall a 126 billion market. And we have asked the developers, how do you see the telco industry as a provider of these services? And 84% of the developers said, well, we see telcos as a provider. Then also asked, what is T-Mobile and DTAG, here 72% of the developers see us in an important role, and 68% say there's a high interest for T-Mobile and Deutsche Telekom to buy directly from us. So telcos have a right to play in this market. We have to enter that market, and we also should lead this market development, because network, of course, is our core functionality. We need to automate, and we need to expose this as well. We see on the following page that there are many attractive markets coming from autonomous driving, gaming APIs, looking into logistics and CPaaS that we mentioned before. For all these services, we need to provide a platform. We need to expose via this API platform. We need to place our APIs there so it can be bought in a simple way and then integrated into specific use cases of developers and hyperscalers. If we take a step ahead, we can also see that all that I'm presenting here is not just a vision. We have done a big test case prior to the last Mobile World Congress, and this was, as mentioned before, about valet parking. And in Germany especially, in the US you're much more advanced. In Germany, valet parking is just a service for a 5-star hotel. So it's a very small number of people who are using valet parking. But at the same time, nobody likes to steer a car into a garage. Nobody likes to search for a place there. So the trial that we are doing together with BMW and also with Vaneo as a provider of automated valet parking, as we have created a 5G network slice that has secured a certain bandwidth of the network. We have created an API. We have also created a kind of app. And then with a one-button touch on our iPhone, the car was guided into a garage, automatically parked there. And I must say, when I was for the first time approached and people proposed this use case as a showcase, I thought, this is so niche. But if we now think ahead, this will be a development with 5G in all countries, in all cities, for all people, because in the end, you will leave your car in front of the office building. You will leave your car in front of the airport terminal. You will leave your car somewhere in the city, and then it will be steered automatically via our network into the garage. So this is moving from a niche use case, from a niche product, from a niche service into a mass market product in the future. So having said that, we also think that all this we cannot do on our own. This is an industry where we need to collaborate. This is something where we need to standardize services and really deliver this to our customers in a big one-stop shop way. This means that everything is also aligned between the carriers. So in this case, we have created the Camara Alliance. It's a big success already, even though it just started. Big names you have that already committed, ranging from Nokia, operators like Vodafone, Orange. We have Microsoft in there. We have Intel in there. So it's really a big alliance that we are forming here. Again, with a purpose to drive network as a service ahead. And we think that network as a service is a strong way to drive digitalization in the first step, use cases in the second step, and then huge innovation and changing customer experience in a significant way in the future. And having said that, this is the closure of my presentation. I think it contained a little bit of food for thought, thinking about how our industry is evolving, how our strategy at Deutsche Telekom is changing, how it is impacting our global business model, how it's impacting Deutsche Telekom global carrier. And as men, we had the discussion beforehand about excitement. I think we are in the most exciting industry of the world, and at the same time also in the most exciting international wholesale business that is really providing a lot of challenges for us, a lot of changes. So, but saying this with Simon Sinek, dreams, we have to dream big, we have to start small, but most of all, we need to start. And this we should jointly. Thank you very much for your attention.
Rolf, thank you very much indeed for your keynote. And one thing struck me there, obviously you talked a lot about so many different areas, but you did mention A2P and business messaging and what you're doing. Now, I spent quite a lot of time in Germany myself and also Switzerland, so DACH, so Germany, Austria and Switzerland. And I know how loyal people in Germany are to the Telekom brand. It's a similar thing with Swisscom in Switzerland. And then you've got so many businesses, the small and medium-sized businesses. You mentioned partnerships with airlines, of course, and other large enterprises. What are you as a company doing to offer these fantastic solutions, particularly I'm thinking on the business messaging side of things, to the smaller and medium-sized enterprises? Because you've got an amazing brand, and I'm sure the solutions would be brilliant for the whole market.
Yeah, that's a very good question, because on one hand side, of course, we are thinking global. Yeah, and we think many of the services are global services. And as I said before, also the developers are thinking in a global way. But at the same time, you're right. The small and medium enterprise customers are the base of the German economy, and also very, very important for our domestic business. We have a high market share when it comes to B2B. It's more than 50%. So there's a high trust of enterprise customers to the brand of Deutsche Telekom. And this is because we have a very good service, and we have a huge sales force, of course, that is also doing excellent, not only excellent sales, but also very good consulting of our customers, bringing them also into the world of digitalization. And this is exactly, I mentioned the Digital X that is currently going on. This is exactly what we are doing here currently, bringing all the customers, or many customers, into one city, having many showcases here to consult, to advise, to we have a lot of speeches about the digitalization of enterprise business in the future. So it's very much that we are a partner and an advisor, and maybe also a coach to the German B2B industry.
That's fantastic and lovely to hear. And I love all the brands in your Kamara initiative, and I'm sure MEF would like to see many of them within the MEF community as well. So Rolf, thank you very much. I look forward to spending a lot of time with your colleagues as well over the next 2 days. And ladies and gentlemen, that's been Rolf Nafziger, SVP of Deutsche Telekom Global Carrier. Thank you for your time, Rolf.